Hi, welcome to Skyslope. Today I'm going to show you how to access your Skyslope forms, use them, and also use Skyslope Suite. You must have taken the Skyslope Access class first. Make sure that you've got all of your correct numbers in so that you get your forms. So I access Skyslope only through utahrealestate.com. That gives me the most current up-to-date forms that we are using. So I'm going to go up here to Forms, and I'm going to click on Skyslope Forms. That takes us to the Skyslope Forms platform. And we're just going to touch base. We're going to go across the top and talk about it a little bit. We're in the Forms button. You can always push home and get to here. The files would be any files that you currently have that you're working on. So my files are here. Templates. You can set yourself up a template. You could go into Create or Create here. I don't teach you how to use templates. I feel like the templates were done in between Skyslope merging with utahrealestate.com and before, but there is a template feature in there that you can go ahead and learn about on your own if you want. Browse libraries. If you have all of your numbers in correctly, you should have around 164 forms. So make sure that your library has 164 forms in it. Next to that, we have clauses. You can add a clause. Clauses would be a helpful thing to add if by any chance you write special instructions on your listing agreement, like the seller may cancel after such and such time. You could add a clause and you could keep it in here for your clauses and add them to your files as you would like. We're going to go over here to the help button next. The help button, if we go into support, it will bring up Skyslope support. They're available 365 days a year, 7 days a week. They have training, how to reset your password, how to create a transaction. You can come down here. There's all kinds of tutorials, how to DigiSign, how to use the Skyslope forms. Come down here. If you email them, they'll respond within 20 minutes. If you chat with them by clicking the little chat button down here, they'll respond within 10 seconds. And if you call them, they'll pick up by the second ring. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Skyslope support. Skyslope and utahrealestate.com merger has changed a lot. I actually take a lot of classes off of Skyslope support to be able to teach you guys. So don't be afraid to use Skyslope support. They're really good. Next to that, we have apps. I'm going to click on the apps. In this is how we switch to Skyslope Suite. This is where you enter your transactions into Skyslope, how you turn your transactions in. Looks like a little bit of a delay today, but here is how you get into your Skyslope Suite. So same way, we're going to go back up here and we're going to switch back into Skyslope Forms. We're going to click on our name or our initials here on the side, and we're going to go into User Profile. In the user profile, you should have all of your information set up. If you don't have all the numbers that you need to take the Skyslope Access class. The next tab over is for My Team. If you are working with a transaction coordinator or a team, you're partners with somebody, you can add their email address in here and save it, and you'll send them as collaborators on your file. They'll be able to access your files and help you manage them. Next, we have our libraries. These are the two libraries that you should have associated with yours. They should be down here at the bottom. You may have different ones if you are in a different area, but they should be here. If you don't have them here, you'll need to search for them up here and push add and add them to the bottom. Next, we have preferences. DigiSign is already set up. That's what Skyslope uses. And next we have Manage Utility Connect. This is a free service in Skyslope. I believe that they can turn off the utilities for your seller and or turn them on for your buyer. You can turn this on here, or you can turn it on for each transaction or throughout Skyslope. And this is Real Satisfied. It collects reviews from your clients every time you close your transaction so that you can easily share it with you. And you can also activate this here and also in other areas. So if you decide to do it later, that is fine. I'm going to push save right here. And now I'm going to go up here to browse libraries. So we have a buyer right now, and our buyer is in meeting with the lender, getting pre-approved, and we're going to go show them houses later tonight. And so we know we need to get our buyer forms ready to go do that. So we are going to get an exclusive buyer broker agreement signed by our buyer. So I'm just going to type buyer, and I'm going to find the form that I need, exclusive buyer broker agreement, and I'm going to push add. I know that I need for your protection, get a home inspection for my buyer. So I'm just going to type home. I get my form for your protection, get a home inspection. I also know that I need buyer due diligence form. So I'm going to add buyer due diligence. As you can see, I'm adding the forms and they're all adding up down here. If I open this, you can see the forms that I've added. You can download them, you can print them. We're just going to keep going over here. And we also know that we need a wire fraud form for buyer. So I'm going to add that. Now you can see that I've got my 4 forms that my buyer needs to sign so we can go look at some houses later tonight. So at this point, you can download these. They would be blank documents. You could take them and have your buyer sign them. You could fill them out, pen and ink, download and print. You can view them. If you've added a document incorrectly that doesn't need to be here, you can delete it right here. I've got my buyers and I'm going to add to file. Where would you like us to send these forms? Create a new file or an existing file. This is going to be a new file because it's my new buyer. So my buyer's last name is Coles. And they're going to be my buyer. And I'm going to push create. Now I'm going to go back out here. I added the forms. I need to go back out here. Here are my forms right here that I just added. Here's my folder that I just made for my buyer. So at this point, I can continue to add documents, upload documents to it, add forms to it, apply a template if I'm using one, or I can select all. Or you can select individually. Once you select something, you get an option down here to do something with it. So I'm going to push select all, and I'm going to fill and send these. I'm going to fill them out and send them to my buyer to sign. So I'm going to push fill and send. If all of your information is correct, your form should auto-populate with your name and your brokerage. And then we're going to put the name of our buyer in here. And you're going to put their email address in because you know it, because you're working with them, and you're going to put their phone number in. If you have another buyer, you're going to add them here. You add the information. I'm going to remove that one. We're going to stick with 1. If you have 5 buyers, you're going to continue to push add another until all of them get put on there. If it is an entity, company, or trust, you would click this button here. You would put the organization name, and then the signer's representation would go down here. So I have one buyer. His name is Sam Coles, and his email address and his phone number. I'm going to save that information. It puts it in here. Now I'm just going to fill out my form as normal. I'm going to put the expiration date of my buyer broker agreement, and I'm going to choose any county in Utah to represent my buyer. Or if you have a buyer that only will sign a buyer broker agreement for a specific property, you would choose this one and you would put that exact address. You also have to make sure that you have a conversation with your buyer that they don't have a representation agreement with another brokerage for any other properties. And as we go down here, if you're charging your client a transaction fee, you can add it to your buyer broker agreement. That's the only place it can be added. There is no more secondary commission form. So if you're going to charge your buyer a transaction fee, you're going to add it onto your buyer broker agreement and then what your percentage is going to be. I'm going to continue to go down and fill out my form. Go to form 2, there's nothing to fill out. Buyer due diligence is auto-populated, there's nothing to fill out. And the wire fraud form is here and nothing to fill out, it auto-populated. So at this point, you can save it as a template, go back into it, do some changes. You could save it and exit it, same thing, go back into it, do some changes. Or I can prepare to sign. I'm going to prepare to sign. You can also add more forms over here to the side. If you forgot to add one of them, you could add it here on the fly. So I'm going to prepare it for signature. You can see I'm the buyer's agent and I need to sign, and Sam is the buyer and he needs to sign. I'm going to go next. Now here's the actions that we can take on the form to get the forms ready to sign. We can do any of these features across the top. Here's how you know who is signing. You can choose them from either, who's signing for it. These are the documents that are included. Here's the recipients, who it's going to. So I'm going to go down. It's ready for me to send off for signing and initials. But as I'm going through my form, I'm just going to make sure that everything's filled out so there are no blanks on my form. You get down here at the bottom, you can see it's already added your buyer's initials and date box. Next page, everything is done. It added their initials and date box. We go to page 3 of this, and I realized that I forgot to put a checkbox on section 10. I don't want my form to get rejected. I don't want to have to start over. So I can, on the fly, click the checkbox mark, put it where it needs to go, put your box in the right spot. I'm going to come over here. It's going to be read only, and it's going to be checked by default. To get rid of your action, you can click in the same box that you were in, or you can push your escape key. Now I've added my checkbox onto my form on the fly, and I don't have to start over. You can see it's got the signature for the buyer. It also put the signature for me on here. So we're good to go there. Buyer's initials and date. We go down the next form. It's in there for them. Buyer due diligence. All they have to do is initial and date each page, and you can see it's already in there. We get to our wire fraud form, same thing, it's in there. So at this point, we can save it and exit it. I wouldn't, you just would be wasting time. Or we can send it. So I'm going to send this for signature for my buyer now. So I'm going to push send. Pops up, save time with your smart emails. There's a professional, friendly, urgent. You can change it to be whatever you want. You can change your wording if you'd like. I'm going to send this for signature now. And it comes up and it says your envelope has been sent. I'm done or sign now. Save yourself some time and sign now. And you're going to push agree. This is the same way it looks to your client, so your clients will be able to do exactly what you're doing. You push start. Brings me to my line right here to sign. I'm going to click in it. It's going to make me choose the signature. If you choose save this signature as my default, you'll be able to skip this step on your, when you go to sign, it won't make you do that. And now it's going to tell me to finish signing. I'm done. Download signed documents. Only I've signed them. My buyer hasn't, so we wouldn't want to do that. I'm done or view signed documents. I'm going to say I'm done. And now you can see here's my file for Kohl's. Here's the 4 forms that were in it. Here's the envelope here that I have sent stuff out. If we click on the actions over here on the right, the 3 little dots, if we realize that we messed something up, or if your client calls you and says, hey, my wife can be on it, or my spouse can be on it, and we want to add them to the forms now, you would have to correct the envelope. That would bring all of the documents back. You make the changes and then you resend them. So if you have to fix the forms, you're going to correct envelope. It will bring them back. You fix them. If you call, your buyer says, hey, I never got the email, I've been waiting for it, you can go into remind and resend. You can verify that their email address is correct. If it's not, you can change it and then you can resend it out to them. Make sure that you tell them to check in their junk mail. You can also download the envelope, download the individual PDFs, rename it all you want, view the history, print it, or cancel it. If the buyer calls you and says, hey, we can't buy after all, you can just cancel it. So now my buyer is going to get started on signing the forms. So hang tight for just a minute. Now I'm going to refresh my screen here, and I'm going to show you that now my envelope is completed. That means all of the documents have been signed by all parties. If you look in the signed documents, you'll see here are all of the documents that signed. I signed it and then I sent it to my buyer. We can also go into file details and see what's in there. Right now, we just have the buyer's name and the information at the bottom. So that is how you fill out and send the forms out to your buyer to get signed. I'm going to click back here on my home button. It'll just take me home. You'll see here's the envelope file that we were just in. We can click in it and we can go back to it. Here's the blank documents that we loaded. Here's the envelope where we sent the documents. Here are the signed documents that our buyer has signed. So we have everything that we need there. Now, we got our buyer documents done. We took our buyer out. We found him a house and we got it all under contract. We did our offer. Now we need to submit our transaction into the office within the 4 business days. And to do that, we enter it in Skyslope. So I'm going to come up here to my apps and I'm going to switch into the Skyslope suite. We're going to talk about Skyslope suite just like we did the dashboard of the Skyslope forms. Across the top, we have our name. We're going to click in that and we're going to go into my account. When you get into my account, here's some information. You should have your information in here, your email address. Next to that is notifications. If you want to set it up for your listings, transactions, or tasks, you can set them up. Obviously, just choose the options you want and save it. Signature, you can see here that you can treat this like a Google document or a Office. You can put your signature block in here. I have a new signature block, the new picture, and I have not added it yet, but I finally got it done. But any email that you send out from Skyslope will have your information on there and you can personalize it with your picture and make it pretty. If you ever need to change your password, that's where you'll change your password. The directory is any contact with any file that you've ever touched. I have a lot because of being in compliance. I don't use it as my database, but you can upload your contacts here. I also hear that utahrealestate.com is supposed to be coming out with a database system, so all your clients will always stay in there. And then integrations, here's the opportunity where you can enable the real satisfied feedback from your client and Utility Connect. So you can enable them also from here or in Skyslope Forms or other areas as we go through. I'm going to go back up to my name. We were in my account and we went through across the top of all of them. Up here is apps. That's how we get back and forth between Forms and Skyslope Suite. Next to that, we have a print. It prints your screen. I don't know why you would ever use it, but there is a print screen feature here in Skyslope. Next to that, we have our support person again. If you click on it, it'll take you into Skyslope support where you can watch any videos, take any classes, reach out to them for help if you need to. And here we have a search feature. If you're an agent who has a lot of transactions, you can remember maybe your client's name, but you can't remember their property address. You could search by name and you could find a transaction for your client by their name. So that's what the search feature is for. Across the top, we have listings. If you have any listings, they will be right in here in Manage Listings. You can go into this section also to create a listing. Next to that, we have transactions, and this is where you'll create your transactions. Little helpful information pops up. This is where you can create your transactions if you're creating a new transaction for Skyslope. I'm also going to go to my home button here, and we're going to continue to work on this dashboard. These quick action buttons, I don't recommend that any new agent or even a seasoned agent use these right now. The reason I say this is because all the forms that you may need for a buyer, a broker agreement, or a buyer agreement are not in this quick action button. So unless you know exactly all the forms you're using, I recommend not using this quick action button. It closes and you can open it back up here from the top, but that's my recommendation. Here we have view transactions, same as on the other page we were just on. So I can go in here and I can look at the transactions I have. Can go back. View listings, same thing. Any of the listings that I have, you would look at them there. We get to the more button. We click on the more button. We can access archives. Any transaction that has been processed and paid and closed, whether you earned commission or not, it's going to be in your access archives. That means it's done deal, went through the title company, however, closed, and there's your final documents. You can always go back in and get. If you have a contract in and you cancel it, you load your cancellation notice in it and it gets canceled, you would be able to pull up any of your canceled contracts and look at those, find the information that you had. If you go to tasks and reminders, that would be if you'd set up any tasks and reminders, you would at this time be able to click on them and see what they are and complete your tasks and reminders. And then we've got working documents. Working documents is kind of obsolete. Those are the documents that you used prior to Skyslope forms. So that is where they are. Then we've got the option here, create new transaction or listing. I'm going to create a transaction for my buyer. So I'm going to push transaction. How do you represent? You need to make sure that you choose the correct representation type. So this one is just going to be a purchase. Do not choose pre-contract, because if you enter it in pre-contract, you have to enter it twice. It doesn't work. So we're going to have it under contract because we don't actually turn it in until it's under contract anyway. So we're going to say, I have under contract, and it pops up down here. And now you can add it by an address lookup, or we want to add it by forms because we've already done our buyer forms. So we want to make sure that we're including them. So I'm going to click on the buyer forms and I'm going to push continue. Now it pops up. You're going to put the MLS number if you have it. You don't yet. You just put zeros in it. If it's a for sale by owner, you could put FSBO. That helps us out. And if it's new construction, you can put new construction so that we know. I'm just going to put zeros in for now. File ID is optional. It's actually a field that we use in compliance and accounting to close your file out. So you don't need to put anything there. Then you're going to put the address of the property in. And let me just check. Something real quick here. Sorry about that. We're going to put the address of the property in here. I already have a contract that I'm going to use. So we're going to put the address of the property in here that we're buying. City. County. Your state. Make sure that you have the correct zip code, and make sure that when you enter the zip code, it does not change your city to a different city. Some cities share a zip code. So if you put in a zip code for Riverton, it might accidentally pull Harriman in or vice versa. Cottonwood Heights, Salt Lake City, just make sure that when you enter the zip code, that it doesn't change your city to a different city. You're going to check select the correct checklist type for your property. This is really important. This is how you determine how many forms go with your transaction. So make sure that you look through those lists and check the right ones. Mine's going to be cell representing buyer. We're going to put the year of the house that it was built, and we're going to continue. We're going to put the purchase price of the property in, and we're going to put the date that it went under contract. So I'm going to put today's date, and then the next one is the closing date of the transaction. Escrow number, if you've already gotten an escrow open and they've given you an escrow number, you can put it here, but it is optional. And then you need to choose your source, where your client come from. Most of mine are SOI. That's where most of mine come from. So I put SOI. And then this is optional, but I'm going to push no. We go to continue. We have our buyer's information right here. If we want to go in and edit any information for the buyer at this time, we can. Then you just have to make sure you save it. And then down here, we're going to have the seller's names. And we don't have the seller's email address because we don't need it. Same thing if it's a trust company or entity, you would choose this. If there's 3 sellers, you're going to continue to add sellers until you have all of them on here. Listing brokerage for the seller's listing agent, you're going to put it in there. So the listing that I am putting in is, excuse me, one of our agents. You're going to put their email address if you have it, which you should if you're dealing with a listing agent on the other side, and also their phone number. The most information you can provide, the best, and I'll give you a reason for that. I'm going to push continue right here. I'm going to just let you know that don't be afraid to enter all of your clients' information in your transactions in Skyslope. There's only your broker has access to it, and 2 of us in compliance have access to your files. But we have had agents who have actually passed away or have been on an extended vacation, things like that, and didn't make it home in time. They needed help getting their transactions closed. They can call their broker up. If all of their information's entered in their transaction, compliance can help them, their broker can help them, anybody can help that file get closed as long as it's filled out correctly with all the information. So please fill out all of your information. So escrow is going to go here, and you're going to put your escrow company here. And I recommend Stephanie with Secure Title in our office. If you have somebody that you use a lot, you can choose this default. So it usually always puts your escrow officer in there. You can choose this button that says get title or escrow started now, yes or no. If you choose yes, go ahead, just follow the steps. The title company would be the other side of the transaction. You would fill that out if you have it right now. If you don't, you can fill it out later. And then if there's an attorney involved in it, you would fill out the attorney section. So I'm going to continue. Does it involve a loan officer? Yes or no? If you say yes, you just fill it out. I'm going to collect no. And are you using a transaction coordinator? Yes or no? If yes, fill it out. I'm going to say no. Did it come from a referral agent? No. We're going to get to here, and we cannot do the transaction fee and the commission fee that you've agreed to, but you can put your percentage. So I'm going to put 3% there. If you are paying, I sometimes will pay for a home warranty. And so I will do this is paying for home warranty up to $500. Then if my commission comes in and it's short $500, compliance and accounting knows that I paid for a home warranty up to $500. Now, over here on the right-hand side, there is a button that says Get Paid Now. Want your commission in advance. It is a commission advance company. It's called e-commissions. You can click on it. You can get a portion of your commission paid to you prior to the file closing. However, if it doesn't close, you have to pay that money back. So it is there. It is an option. You fill out the form, you sign it, your broker signs it, and then you have to add a copy of it to your transaction if you do it. I'm going to push continue here, but I'm afraid I might get an error, and we will see if they fixed it. So I push continue, and it is giving me an error. So this is kind of a glitch in Skyslope. I don't know what to do about it. I know they know about it. They're working on it. We don't know what the selling side of the commission is, the listing side. I just put the same as mine. I'm just going to, whatever I'm getting paid, I'm putting that in theirs. It doesn't affect our side because we're still getting the 3% or whatever our agreement says we're going to get. Continue. Will we hold earnest money? Yes or no? If yes, you put it. All the information down. If there's additional deposits, you can do it. And we get down here to the bottom and we push create transaction. So it's now creating my transaction. My buyer's name's filled out, my purchase price, my name, the address of the property, and here's the checklist of the documents that I may need to close this transaction. I'm going to click on the documents section and see that my buyer broker and all of the forms that we already did and had signed are in there because we created our transaction using the forms. So these need to be attached to my checklist. So I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to assign it. I'm going to assign it to the buyer broker agreement line of my checklist, which is right here. And I'm going to push assign. I'm going to get the next document, buyer due diligence. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to assign, and it needs to go on the buyer due diligence checklist line. I'm going to assign it that way. You can see that the paper clips are there and it shows you where the document has been attached. You can also hover over an eyeball in Skyslope and it will give you a preview of the documents without actually opening the documents, just so you can see them. So I'm going to click on this again and I'm going to assign, and it's going to go to my wire fraud disclosure. So I have 3 of my 4 documents assigned. If I see one of my documents and it's renamed, it's named the wrong thing, I can go in here to the side and I can rename it. I can also add documents to my checklist. These are the 3 that we just added, but I can add them to my checklist also by doing attach. And then I can upload a document, or I can use the one that's in the documents. So now you can see that all of my documents are attached here. If you go into the documents section, every document that's in there is attached somewhere, and you can see that. Now, if you click on this paperclip and you realize that you loaded the wrong document, you would just delete it before compliance has reviewed it. You can go ahead and delete the document. I'm just going to reattach it because I know it's correct. And now I have all of my, we did a REPC, we got it all signed, negotiated. I've got all my addendums done. It's done. So I'm going to go into the documents section and I'm going to upload a copy of my documents that I did. The address matches, but none of the names match. It's just some training documents that I've made. They're loading. You can see the documents have loaded here. I'm going to preview the documents so you can see what's here. I've got 14 pages, limited agency agreement, my REPC, all my addendums that we signed, lead-based paint disclosure, everything came back as one big document. And I know that I need those documents to go onto my checklist line, and they need to be broke out into their appropriate area. So I'm going to go to my documents. I'm going to click on my training documents, and I'm going to split these documents. We're going to take all of those pages and we're going to split them and add them to our checklist line. It pops up and it tries to auto split your documents for you. It's a new feature and it works on some and it doesn't work on some. So I review them all. So my first document is limited agency consent agreement and it's 2 pages. So that's 1 to 2 and it needs to go on the limited agency agreement checklist line. Then I go to page 3, it's my REPC, and they've got it going to page 8. So I just page over till I get to the end of it, make sure it matches, and it does. Page 9 is a lead-based paint acknowledgement, and it goes on the lead-based paint line. Page 10, for your protection, get a home inspection. I already had that done, but we're just going to let that go get split anyway. Page 11 is the deposit of earnest money at title insurance company, because that's where I deposit my insurance or my earnest money. And it's page 11 only. Page 12 is my FHA addendum. And page 13 is my FHA addendum. So page 12 to 13 goes on the FHA addendum line. And then page 14 is addendum number 3, and it goes to all addendum. So I have 1 through 14 counted for, and I'm breaking them out and I'm putting them on the correct line of the checklist. I'm going to split and assign right here. It takes those 14 pages and it splits them from their 14 pages and assigns them to the transaction on the correct line. A little bit delayed today. So now I'm going to go to the return to documents to show you what it looks like. Here's the one document that's 14 pages, and we split it out and we attached them to all of those parts of the checklist. So as you can see here, I've attached the documents. Now, if I notice something, if it doesn't pertain to my transaction, I can type in it like non-applicable and push save, or I can leave it blank. When compliance reviews your files for the first time, they try to eliminate anything that doesn't have to do with your transaction, except for a few things. If it's FHA, or it could be an FHA property, we leave that open until the end, because you have to have, at the very minimum, the FHA mandatory guidelines or the FHA addendum. So we do leave the FHA addendum line open. The other item that we leave open is all unaccepted, rejected, and or canceled offers. That can be anywhere on the checklist from section 9 to 15. And that's where you would load your cancellation notice if it does cancel. But if it doesn't pertain to your transaction, you can just go ahead and leave it blank, or you can type something in it. So now we have submitted our transaction to compliance. It's turned in and they can review the file at any time. One thing that I like to do is you need to send your copy of your transaction to your title company, to the copy to the other agent, give a copy to your client. You can do it really easy if you come here to transaction actions and you push download summary. Unfortunately, it doesn't download it to the documents of the transaction, but it does download it into your own documents. Now I'm going to go here to the documents and I'm going to upload what I just downloaded. And I'm going to rename this. This is a transaction summary. I'm going to save it. I'm going to click on it so you can see what it is. It's a transaction summary of everything that you just entered on your transaction. So it's got the details, it's got the seller's names, the buyer's names, the escrow, the other agent, and commissions all on it. Anything that I put on there. And I always send a copy of the transaction summary to the other agent, to the title company, to the lender, whoever needs a copy of it. So I've added that in here, and now I'm going to show you what you can do with it. Each individual transaction has their own email address. So this email address, you can see it's part of the address, pertains to this transaction. So at this point, I can email and I can send it to my escrow officer. and I can send it to my buyer. And I can send it to the lender. I can copy whoever I want on it. Here's the address of the property. You can type in here, we are under contract. Please open escrow and send me the PR when you have it. Thank you. You're going to put your information in there, and then you're going to attach any of the forms that you want to send to them. So of course, it's going to be your transaction summary, your addendums, anything that has to do with your contract. And you can select all of those. We've decided who we're sending them to. And we've wrote the information that we want to send in here, and then we're going to push send. Now by doing that, I can go to my log right here, and I can see everything that I've done to this transaction from when it started to right now. You can see I emailed a copy of those documents out. You can open it up. You can see the attachments and what it says so that you know. So now when my title company emails me back, when my title company emails me back, if they email me back, it will go into this transaction. So any documents that I receive can automatically come into this transaction from them emailing this email address right here. I'm gonna, let's see. So that is everything that we have here. I'm just gonna touch base. If you have to change something on your transaction, address, city, purchase price, closing date, you would click in your transaction, you would find the correct tab and do it. Your contacts are here. So anybody that's in your contacts, your commission, you've already filled that out. If there's a referral involved, here's the referral section. You would fill it out, put your W-9 in there, upload it. Checklist, that's where all your documents are attached to your transaction. Your documents are all of the documents that may or may not be attached to your transaction. The log is anything you've done to the transaction. The tasks, if you've set any tasks up for your transaction, they would be in here, like notify me 3 days before closing, something like that. The property section in here does not do you any good if you enter all of this information in. It's only for your eyes. It doesn't integrate or do anything. I prefer to just upload a copy of the MLS report into it that has all the property information in it. If you enter it in here, it's kind of a waste of time as nobody sees it. So I'm going to go back to checklist. I am also going to just attach a document here just for fun so that I can show you another option or another feature. You can see now that compliance has not reviewed them. They're still eligible to be deleted. So if this one, if I notice that my buyer due diligence is not right, I look it up and oh, it's the wrong buyer or the wrong person, I can delete it. I can remove that document from there. So I have deleted it. This one has not been approved yet because it's still in yellow. It's still in review, but I don't have an option or an X to the side of it to delete it. That means if you click on the paperclip, it's going to bring a pop-up box showing that you have more than one document, and then you can delete the document that you don't need. I'm going to reattach my buyer due diligence just to show you how easy that is, and it's done. So we've created a transaction for our buyer and we've turned all the paperwork in. We also have this option of get paid now, commission advance through e-commissions, right? And it's all there. So once it cancels, you'll load your cancellation notice here in number 4. And your cancellation notice is here. And so then you can come up here to transaction actions, cancel it. And I just put SS training because I'm training for Skyslope. You wouldn't actually put the reason, which would be prior to due diligence or whatever the reason for your cancellation is. And then you're going to cancel transaction. And now what we've done is we've canceled that. So if I go back up here to my home button, and now if I want to view transactions, you can see that These were the two that were already in here. This is the one that we did today, and you can see it's pending pending being canceled by compliance. I'm going to hit my home button. I'm going to go home. So now we are also going to do the paperwork for a listing. We're going to create a listing. So create new, and we are going to go listing, type of representation, listing, who's it for? It should automatically come up. Enter or select a property. So I haven't chose a property yet. So, and we don't have any forms filled out yet. So we are going to search for it by the Google address, okay? So we're going to buy the Sandy office, or we're going to sell the Sandy office, I should say. It's a listing. I've put the property address in here. You can edit it if you need to edit it. We're going to put the list price in, the listing date, the date that their listing went into effect, and then your expiration date goes next. So I'm going to keep mine listed for almost a year. Your source, where did you get your client? Where did it come from? Mine is SOI. The year built, you're going to put the year that the property was built in there. And then the sellers, you're going to have to put who the sellers are, right? And because you're their sellers, whoops, I need to put one in that I can access. Because they're your sellers, you're obviously going to know their phone number and their email address. If it's trust company or entity, just like on the buyer side, you would choose that. You would put it, if there's more than one seller, 5 sellers, you just continue to add. Sales commission, what are you listing the property for? And what are you paying the buyer's agent? And then what are you paying yourself, right? Needs to be in there. If there's a co-listing agent, if you're listing it with somebody else or you have a partner, you would add co-listing agent here. I'm going to push continue. Would I like to pre-open escrow? Yes or no? You can do it this way. You just follow the instructions. I do it at the end when I send all the documents. I'm going to say no here. Continue. They're getting the details in. You can see that I've created my listing. I'm only required to upload 3 documents to it. So I have to put those documents in. I am going to go to upload documents, and I do not have any listing documentation filled out right now, but I'm going to pretend like I do. So I've got my documents here, and I'm going to split them. These are not the documents that are supposed to be attached. I am just making stuff up. So we're going to have a little lag for a second. So I am going to say this is my exclusive right to sell listing agreement. Page 1 and 2. My input forms, MLS input forms, I'm going to say that's 3 to 8. And we got our wire fraud form. I don't have lead-based paint on that one. Rear protection. We don't have that. We don't have that. And this is going to be a wire fraud form. And I'm going to split and assign, and you're going to see that although they're not the correct documents, you'll just see how the split feature works. I'm going to return to my documents. Here's the document that I loaded. I split it out into 3 separate documents and attached it to my checklist. And now you've submitted your listing paperwork within the 4 required days. If you don't have all of the documents attached to your checklist, you do not have the option of doing anything. You can see the status, but you cannot choose accepted contract until you have all of your documents complete on your checklist. Once you have all of your documents complete on your checklist, you have the option of choosing accepted contract once it goes under contract with your seller. So now I'm going to go back to my home screen. I'm going to show you, I'm going to view transactions. Here's the transaction we made. It's in compliance pending cancellation approval. I can go back to my home button. I can view listings. You can see here's my listing right here. You can see next to the right-hand side, I have some actions. I can choose accepted contract, duplicate it. I don't know why you'd ever do that, or withdraw listing. If you didn't get all your paperwork signed, you would withdraw the listing and it would go away. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go to the checklist. And we're under contract. We listed it. We showed it all weekend. We got an offer on it. Once you go under contract, you're going to choose accepted contract from your listing. Convert this into accepted contract. We're going to say create transaction. Now we're going to create a transaction just like we did for the buyer side, except for this side, it's with our seller. We're going to put our MLS number in because we have it, because we have it listed, right? Your checklist type, make sure that you're choosing the correct checklist type. Make sure that everything is filled out correctly. I can see my address got a little screwy here, so I just changed to update it a little bit. You're going to put the price of the property up. I'm going to put this price of the property in, what it's selling for. You're going to go down anything that has a red asterisk. You have to make sure that it's filled out and completed. What day did it go under contract? And then again, what day is it closing? And we're going to push next. It brings us to the seller's information, which is already in here. We go to next, takes us to the buyer's information. You're going to put that in. All you know is their name. We're going to save it. We're going to go to next. Your escrow company, you're going to put that in here. And I'm going to save that. Agent representing on the other side, you're going to put their information in. And obviously you're going to know their phone number and their brokerage and email address. If you don't know somebody's email address and you're entering your transaction, you can put anyone in front of @Gmail. You can literally put anything and put @Gmail behind it and it'll take it, and then you can go back and save it later. So I'm going to save here. There, it takes us to the lender button. Is there a lender? Yes or no? If there is, you can fill it out. I'm just going to click here for cash deal. I'm going to save it. And now you can see that I have all of these sections filled out. I have the option to submit. So I'm going to submit this. And what I have done is I have just turned my listing into a transaction because we're under contract. Then you're just going to go through and fill this out just like you did when you were entering it. And I'm going to submit. You can submit and open escrow with your title company, or you can just submit. I'm going to push submit. And now you can see here's my checklist. At the bottom of the checklist are my listing documents. And then I would go and add the rep sheet and the contract and everything here to this. I'm going to just add a document here. And I am going to cancel this transaction. And I do not want the listing reactivated. So now we've entered a transaction and we entered a listing and we canceled both of those. One more thing I'm going to touch base over really quick while I'll just do a quick enter for you. We have a lot of referrals coming through. So for a referral, we're going to create a transaction, choose a referral checklist. You don't have the address because you don't know where they're going to buy. All you have is like their name, right? So you might have your documents already done in here. If not, you can look it up by an address. Unknown, California. You can just find something, the city, the state, put in something, which office is it for. You're not going to know the MLS number. You're not going to know the street number. So I just usually type unknown, or you can put to be determined. You can fill out the city. If you know the city and state, you put in the best you can. Checklist type, you're going to make sure you choose it for referrals. Year built, you have no idea because you're not going to help them find it. You're just going to get paid for it. So we push continue. The price of it, you don't know what the price is going to be. You just put a cent in there is fine. When you sent the referral agreement over, and then when your anticipated closing date is, when you think you're going to get paid on it. Put it out a little bit if it might take a little bit. And then your source, where did you get it? And we push continue. We have to put our buyer, the person that we are referring. We put their information in here. If there's 2 or 3, you add them. If you know the seller's information, you put it in here. We're not going to know that, so it's unknown to us. And I'm going to continue. If we get an error, we just go back and fill in that field. So we put anyone@gmail.com. I'm going to push continue. The brokerage, you're going to put the where you sent it to. So who you're sending your referral to, right? Going to push continue. It's going to make us put a phone number in. And I'm going to push continue. Escrow company, we don't know. I'm just going to put unknown in all of it. Because we don't know what title company they're going to close with. Does it involve a loan? Yes or no? Transaction coordinator? Yes or no? Did it come from a referral agent? Yes or no? Yes. You're going to put that information in. I'm going to say no right now to get us past it. And then you're going to put whatever your percentage is, 25%, whatever your referral form says. And you obviously cannot get paid in advance because your referral might not come in. You're going to have anything in here and you're going to push continue. Do we hold earnest money? Yes or no? I'm going to create the transaction. And when the transaction comes up, it only requires 2 forms. The referral agreement here, and then a copy of the check or the wire form if you get it. So it's a lot of information to enter for a referral that we don't know the information, but that's how it works. Also, you can see when you get a transaction and you can order a home warranty. If you click on it, there's some home warranties attached to it and you can do that. I am going to come over here and I'm going to cancel this because it is a training file and I need to get it out of here. So I've canceled my referral. I'm going to go back to my home screen. I'm just going to push home and you can see here on my list that I can view my transactions or my listings. I view my transactions. What we did today are these 3 right here, and they've been down to be canceled now. And if I view my listings, I don't have any because I did it and I got it under contract and turned it into a transaction. And I believe that is all we need to talk about today. I recommend that you pretend like you're a buyer, sign yourself some buyer documents, learn how the forms work, enter a transaction. You can enter one and then you can cancel it. And in the cancellation line, just put training and we will delete that file for you. We don't have a training database anymore. And then take the class again another time. There's a lot to learn and there's a lot that we squished in there. And that is the end of the class. I hope that you learned. I hope it helps you. If not, please feel free to reach out to Skyslope support anytime, or we teach Skyslope every Tuesday from 2 to 4. Thanks so much for coming. Bye-bye.